World. We grew up going there. And it was fun. We had a good time. There are several things that will forever stick with me. One time we were going through the line. We got there. We went straight to this thing called the Texas Twister. Do you remember that? It was a horizontal roller coaster. It never went up. Have anybody been on Mr. Freeze where it goes and then up and then turns and turns and turns? Well, this just goes, but it spins. And you twist and you twist and you twist. And we stood in line for like an hour one time, forever. And we're almost there, and we notice that there's this bigger couple. And they're in front of us, and they've been waiting in line just as long as we have. And so it's their turn to go. And they start getting in there, and they say, Mister, you can't ride this ride. You're too big. I never knew anybody could be too big to ride a roller coaster, but I'll be honest, I'm probably too big to ride it now. They were too big to ride a horizontal roller coaster that went upside down, barely. I felt really bad for them because they waited forever. And we did too. It was a great ride, and they needed to ride it. The second thing, when I was a youth pastor, I took a bunch of kids to Astroworld. It was a lot of fun. I was with some teenagers, and Astroworld has this ride. It doesn't have it anymore. It doesn't need to have it ever anyway. It's called the Space Shuttle. And you would get in, and it would swing back and forth. You seen one of those? And then it has enough momentum that it suspends upside down in the air, and you have like gravity-less moments. And then you come swinging down, and then you swing and swing and turn and flip and flip. It's incredible. The time I got on there, I'm on the outside, kids are on the inside. No big deal, I sit down. The lap bar doesn't come down, like all the way. There's a lot of room. And then it goes out, and it doesn't do anything. And I was like, no big deal. They'll come and fix it. No. The idiot running it didn't come and check it. And so he hits the go button, and I'm swinging. And I don't know what to do. All I do is say, hey. That's it. That's all like anything I got out. So I grab it, and I rip it down, and it sticks like 10 inches from my waist. Like I'm freaking out. I'm on the outside, hanging upside down, is about to commence, not yet, and all there is pavement, and there's this cage above you that kind of keeps coins and crap and hats from falling out. I'm like, on the outside, that cage is not going to catch me. I'm going to die. So I shove my feet underneath the seat in front of me, and they had bars on it, and I wrap my arm under it, thinking, I'm fixing to die. Everyone, and about this time, I'm almost like crying. And it commences. And I don't die, because I'm here. I hold on. Luckily, I was like 23 and was in shape at the time, and I was able to hold on, but I was coming up off the seat, onto the seat, sliding everywhere, holding on, and then it finished, and here's what happened. Those attendants were laughing at me, and I was like crying. It was a horrible experience. It was so bad, I didn't even think to complain. I just got off, ran away, and tried to collect myself. And the students, they all noticed too, because we're swinging. They're like, what's going on? And they all figure out, I don't have a lap belt, really. I don't have a lap bar. And so they were freaking out. We were all freaking out. And I think the attendants were all just like, those high school kids and that guy are freaking out. And man, it was horrifying. So that park deserved to die. Forever. I could care less if I didn't die. I didn't pee my pants. I don't know how. It was horrifying. You can imagine. It was bad. But man, I tell you that because most of us have kids. John and Emily don't, but we don't. We do. And a lot of times, especially with teenagers, you get to teenage land. I have learned that when you're on a roller coaster, because I still ride roller coasters. Here's what I do. I bet you do the same thing too. I'm going to put my microphone down. No, I'm not. You grab it and you pull it as tight as you can pull it. And then you push, and you pull, and you push, and you pull, and you push, and you pull, and you poke, and you pry, and you push, you pull, all to ensure and to confirm that it is going to hold you, right? As you have kids and as you have teenagers, you're the attendant in the lap boat. When they get on you, they really are just poking and prodding, especially 3 to 5 and teenagers. They're poking and prodding to just confirm and ensure that you're going to hold them. You're going to be safe for them. In a world where nothing is certain, they need uncertainty. Or vice versa. They need to be certain. In a world that is unstable, they need stableness. In a world that is all awry, they need normal. And so they're going to poke and prod you. And it's not that you have a toddler or a teenager, or that it is that you have a toddler or a teenager. It's not that you're an idiot, or that you said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing. And I told my cousin yesterday, it's like, here's what I want you to understand. There's nothing you've done wrong. It's just they're trying to test the boundaries and independence of who you are. So when they don't want to get off the bus at 5, guess what? They don't get off the bus. Just part of it. If they don't want to come home at curfew at teenage, guess what? They're not going to come home, and they want to know, my dad's going to be angry, or whatever it is. I missed curfew once, never did it again. I knew better after that. It wasn't worth testing, it wasn't worth pulling. I trusted that he was going to take care of me, even if I didn't like the consequences. It was rough. But that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of what parenting is. We're the attendants that check the safetiness of our kid. We're the lap belt that holds them in place so that they can ensure that they can have a great journey and a great ride. And some of us are closer than others, and none of us want it to go any faster. But that's parenting. Parenting is the greatest thing you'll ever do and the hardest thing you'll ever do. And it's a lot of fun. And here's the thing, if you don't have kids, guess what? You can learn a lot from God on this. We're going to teach you some stuff. Because I'm going to talk more about God and our faith than I am about parenting. And then we don't have any grandparents in here, I don't think, but we do have some that come with us that are here that are grandparents. Man, the coolest thing about that is you get a second chance. Second chance. One day, hopefully, we'll all get a second chance at all the failures we did, because we're failing. We're failing forward. We're failing, and it's okay. But we learn a lot. There's some things that we learn. I asked this question, and I got a few responses, but I also found some that were highly interesting and funny. So the things that you learn from kids after you have kids. So the things you learn about life after you have kids. I'm going to give you some random ones. Here it is. Ready? There's no such thing as childproofing your house. Right? A 4-year-old's voice is louder than 200 adults in a crowded room. If you hook a dog leash over a ceiling fan, the motor is not strong enough to rotate a 42-pound boy wearing Paw Patrol underwear and a Superman cape. It is, however, strong enough to hold a paint bucket and sling paint in a 20 foot by 20 foot room. I thought that was funny. A ceiling fan could also hit a baseball a long way, and a double pane glass won't hold that baseball inside. When you hear the toilet flush and you hear, oh no, it's too late. The opposite of puppy dog is a whale. Who knew? That's crazy. Wiping after pooping is optional. Didn't know that one. Glad I know. A 6-year-old can start a fire with a flint rock, even though a 36-year-old says that that's only in movies. A magnifying glass can really start a fire in cloudy weather. If you use a water bed for home plate wearing cleats, it doesn't leak, it explodes. And if that water bed's a king-size bed, it floods a 2,000 square foot house in 4 inches of water. Yeah, these are rough. I was howling laughing at them. I still am. Play-Doh and microwave don't go belong in the same sentence. For you that don't know that. No matter how much Jell-O you put into a swimming pool, you can't walk on water. And pools don't like Jell-O. The filters don't like it. Garbage bags don't make good parachutes. We probably figured that out as a child. Marbles and gas tanks make a lot of noise. Always look in the oven before you turn it on. Plastic toys do not like ovens. And that's it. That's the things we learn. Parenting is fun, but it's also ridiculous, and so on and so forth. When I say that, I ask questions like, what was your win? And tell stories like this, because I want you to understand it's fun. Parenting is fun, but it's hard. And I don't want you to leave feeling bad, because you're like, have a Levi or a Lila or whatever it is you have. And so today, I do want to walk through parenting. I want to look at parenting, but look at parenting through the eyes of God and look at godly parents. That's what we've done. We've kind of talked about godly marriage versus marriage, worldly marriage, and we're going to do that today. And we're going to be in the middle of we're going to read 2 passages from the Old Testament today. I love that I can talk a baby to sleep too. Or mom can hold a baby to sleep, more like it. But we're gonna read 2 passages from Deuteronomy and Proverbs. So if you have a Bible, you can open up. We're gonna be in Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9. It'll be on the screen if you don't have it. And here's what I want you to know. Moses had just given them the 10 Commandments, and he was teaching them on the 10 Commandments. And we have this moment where he speaks to the Israelites about wholehearted commitment to God. So we'll read it. These are the words that Moses spoke to all the people of Israelites while they were in the wilderness east of the Jordan River. They were camped near Jordan Valley, near, I think I put the wrong verse in there, so this isn't it.
That's 1.
Yep. I just screwed that up probably somewhere. Anyway, so normally it takes 11 days. That's not it. Here, I'll read it to you. I messed up. Listen, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your strength. And you must commit yourself wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. Talk about them when you're at home, and when you're on the road, and when you're going to bed, and when you are getting up. Tie them to your hands, and wear them on your forehead as a reminder. Write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. This is talking about the 10 Commandments and some other things in a wholehearted commitment. And he's saying, when you wake, when you ride, when you drive, when you work, when you go, keep these on your mind. Keep these on your heart. Remind your children. Jesus, he's summing up the 10 Commandments. Jesus sums up the 10 Commandments the best when he quoted verses 4 and 5 and then added a little extra. It's in Matthew. We can read it. I think I have it up here. But it says this. Jesus replied, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart and your soul and your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. So as we go, Moses and Jesus, Moses is basically he teaches this, and Jesus is summing up those moments, what he's teaching. Jesus knows it. Everybody in that time knew. You were to teach your children how to love God and love others. So as you go, and as you put them to bed, and as you rise, and as you walk, and as you eat, and as you eat dinner, you teach them these things. You put them in mind. You put them in place. You repeat them over and over. And in Proverbs was written by Solomon. We studied him Song of Solomon last week, and he wrote that also. He is the king after David of the Israelites, and he wrote Proverbs basically to his son. It was much like they were sitting on the porch and he was just teaching him and talking to him. And he sums up and talks about the same idea that plays out over and over in Israelite nation and in Israelite history and in their custom of teaching their children how to follow God. And this is what he said. You'll recognize some of this probably. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commandments in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. We've heard that with Moses. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understandings. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes, for the Lord, or fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. King Solomon is breaking down what Moses taught long ago with his own son, sitting on a porch telling him, you got to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understandings, and all your ways acknowledge him and follow your path, tie him around your neck, put him on your heart. And he's telling him the same thing, teaching him wholehearted commitment to follow God. Then he goes on, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of your crop. Then the barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. And sometimes people ask, why is that in there? And here's the thing. Your wealth and your money are the greatest indication of where you are and who you're following. Man, I like to do budgets sometimes, but sometimes I don't. And what it tells me a lot is I love chilies and Dos Salsas. Man, I love that. But if I get to looking and all I've ever done is spent money there, and I haven't given my first fruits to God, can I really say I'm trying to be a disciple as best as I can? Or am I trying to be a Tex-Mex lover? Sometimes that's how it is. And God says, no, here's the thing. Give me your first fruits, and I'll fill your barn. He's saying, follow me, trust me. Lean not on your own understandings. In all your ways acknowledge me, and I will make your path straight. Will it be hard? Yeah. Will you fail? Yes. It's not going to give you $1 million, but what he's saying is, trust me with everything. If you can trust me with your money, you can trust me with everything else. And if you can trust me with your money, you can do great things, and I will bless you. That is discipleship. It's part of following God. And so he puts it in there. Give back what God has blessed you with. It's not for our church, it's to bless others with it. It's not for me, and it's for him. It's a valuable piece to following God. And then he says, my son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those he loves as a father, the son he delights in. King Solomon is pointing to the place that his son has with God. When we follow God and when we enter into the rescue plan that Jesus has provided, we become sons and daughters of the King. He becomes our good, good Father. And I love that song because it identifies that he is a good, good Father. And I'm trying to be the best father I can be, but I can't add up to him. And I'm so thankful because when I fail, God won't. And so he is a good Father. Teach your children this. Teach them this. See them and show them that discipline is part of following God. Discipline is part of God loving us. Same is true for you. Discipline is about you loving your child. It's not that you're a big punk. It's that you're a loving father, a loving mother. They need to know that. They need to see that. And they need to know that when they make mistakes, sometimes God's going to discipline them. There's consequences for our sin. And that's no fun. I don't like it. But he's a father. And he allows things to happen to us. And so, we believe God we believe in God, and we believe that his way is best. And we're going to talk about this idea, continue to talk about this idea. And I want to kind of go through a godly parenting versus worldly parenting. Last week we talked about marriage. Consumerism has an effect on our marriage. And it also has an effect on our parenting. And what happens is in marriage, you enter into marriage and you have this idea. I was guilty of it, I'll be honest. And if you weren't here, I talked about how miserable I was and how miserable Susan was for a while in our marriage until we figured it out. Consumeristic marriages start with, you move to me or I'm out. You move to me or I'm out. And that's kind of the flow, is that if you don't adjust to me, I'm out. Marriage, a godly marriage, isn't that way. It says we're going to adjust to God together. We're going to move to God individually and then come together. Parenting, consumerism kind of affects parenting too. And there's a difference between godly parenting and consumeristic parenting. And it's hard because I think it's very tempting. Like, one of them is, man, I want to be best friends with my kids. I want to be best friends with my kids. I want to provide everything my kid would ever dream or ever want. I want to give my kid the brightest and the best. Those are all great things. I mean, I want to be friends with my kids, right? But the consumeristic parenting that says it doesn't matter what they do. Just let them do it. Their kids will be kids. Kids deserve whatever kids want. And is all that bad? No. But here's what it does. It puts us in a place where we say, when just like marriage, says we're going to adjust to our kids. And if we don't, we're out. We're going to adjust to our kids, and if not, we're out. Because then you're going to hit a few bumps and a few bruises, and guess what? You're no longer your favorite parent. You're no longer the best friend. You're no longer the coolest parent in the world. And then you have a moment where you can't get them the shiniest thing, and they hate you because they couldn't get the shiniest thing in the world. And so you hit a few bumps and you're out. Godly parent says, no, I'm going to move to God. And I'm going to parent. And I'm going to teach my kid how to move to God. And together, we're going to move together. Does it guarantee that they're going to stick with God all their lives? No. I wish it did. I wish there was a perfect plan. I mean, if there was a perfect plan, my siblings are probably going to watch it, but all of my family would be following God just like I am. And I'm messing up too, and I'm not perfect. It doesn't provide a perfect plan, but what it does provide is a way for you to focus on God and still be married, still be parents. There hurts and bruises and bumps. Heck yeah. But that's the godliness of it that gets you through it. Because, see, godly parenting and godly marriages have a different endpoint. Our endpoint, our focus is we adjust to God. We put God in our life. Throughout our day and throughout our walking, we put God first. I'm not saying it's foolproof, but what I'm saying is when you have bumps, you can make it through. Because God wants your marriage and your parenting to flourish. He wants you to have a place where your parenting and your marriage flourishes. He wants you to be in a place where your walk with Him flourishes. Yeah, it's hard. But what you're doing is you're teaching your kid to follow God. What you're doing is you're teaching your kid how to follow. So when you walk, and when you wake up, and when you move, teach them about God. That's why we talk about domain engagement all the time. That's why we talk about your domain at work, at play, at home, in your neighborhood, in your hobby, in everything you do. Take Jesus with you. Because there's someone watching. And your kids are watching. And others are watching. And here's what I want to do. I want to end on this. I want to give you 4, probably 5. There are only 4 up here, but on my way here, I heard another one that is more important probably than all of them. Actually, no, but just as important. The first one is this. Be kingdom-minded. As a parent, be kingdom-minded. How to be a better Jesus-honoring and Jesus-following parent. Be kingdom-minded. Matthew 6:33, in the famous sermon of Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount, said, seek first the kingdom of God and all His righteousness, and He will give you everything you need. Not everything you want, but everything you need. Be kingdom-minded. Think about God. The kingdom of God is His reign and rule in your life and in heaven and on earth. That's really your life. And so be kingdom-minded. Think about that. Think about that. So in your parenting, be kingdom-minded. Bind them around your neck and put them on the heart of your parenting. Discipline your kid with Jesus in mind. Have fun with Jesus in mind. Work with Jesus in mind. Eat with Jesus in mind. Neighborhood with Jesus in mind. Have fun with Jesus in mind. Go to bed with Jesus in mind. With your parents and your kids, and teach them and walk them with you and let them see you eat and work and think. And let them know why. When you go on a date, tell them, we're going on a date because we need to love each other and get right with Jesus. This is why when you go out with friends, this is what we do with our kids. We tell them, you guys are going to stay with whoever, and we're going to go out with these people because we want them to know Christ. And so you're a part of the plan, and you walk with them. So be kingdom-minded. Even in your laziness, keep Jesus in mind. The second is serve God and man. I said I worked as a student pastor for 17 years, and 15 is rough. Buckle up. When you get there, buckle up. It is rough. It's part of it. But here's the thing. I told parents, hundreds of parents, we would sit and I would counsel, we would visit, and I would say, how are you serving others with your kids? 99 times out of 100, they said, we are. And I'd say, here's the deal. Do it. Find some area that you can serve your church and your community and let them love other people. Here's what happens. When they do that, they understand that they're not the only one in the world and that they have it pretty good. They also get to learn how to love people like Jesus did, and it gives them confidence. So as you read, some of y'all are far from it, so put that in your head. I'll tell you over and over again, if we have counseling. That's why we do. That's why we are trying to make service and serving others such an important part of who we are. Because we are designed to love others and serve others. And so that's why we try to do what we do. And we are going to get to a place where we have things that you can come alongside us and do. You don't have to do extravagant things. You can say, hey, we're going to go down and we're going to go get some breakfast burritos. We're going to stand on the corner of our neighborhood and we're going to pass them out to whoever comes. Is that weird? Heck yeah, that's weird. But also, it lets your neighbors know that you love them, and your kids get some confidence because they can go up to adults and go up to a car and say, hey, here's this. And you might want to watch them and make sure they don't do that because somebody, all these Lambert alerts, probably they've been passing out burritos outside. Don't let them do that. But you get my point. Help them serve God and man. And here's the thing, it has the same effect on you. You learn to love people like Jesus. You gain confidence in who you are and what you do. You gain confidence as a follower of God, and you begin to love people. And you get to figure out, some people, I don't have it as bad as I thought I had it. Here's the third. Do not worry. It's hard. Do not worry. Philippians 4:6-7 says, don't worry about anything. Children too. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your heart and your mind as you live in Christ Jesus. But let's be honest, there's much to worry about parenting. I don't worry as much. I used to live in fear, and I used to live in worry. And that's no place to live. And what I learned was that Jesus can free you. You just got to run to Him often. And it's no coincidence. I didn't really mean to do this, but Proverbs 3, I have quoted probably a gazillion times. One day or 2 days in my life, I remember quoting Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 all the time without stopping because I couldn't do it without doing that. It was just trusting the Lord with all your heart, lean not on those things, and all your ways acknowledge Him and make your path straight. That just over and over and over again. I even preached one time at the same time, and that was going on in my head. Don't worry. Find places that you're not, find reason that you're not going to worry. Lean on Him, trust on Him, and that's why Solomon was able to say, trust in all your ways, acknowledge Him. Trust Jesus with your worries. Serve God and man, and be kingdom-minded. Here's the fourth. Actually, I'm going to add in another one, so it's not the fourth yet, so just leave it there. Well, you can see it. Go to bed tired. There you go. I'll give you the fourth, I'll give you the fifth one later. I'm going to fall down. There's 2 moments in my life where I go to bed and I have struggled sleeping. Last Sunday was one of them. It was an incredible day. It was awesome. We got to see God move in the service. I had a blast. I got to go to lunch with people I love in our church and hang with them. It was fun. Then we had a team from Lubbock come in, and they helped serve and love the community with us. That was a lot of fun. And I got home and after dinner, and I was on high. I loved it. I didn't go to sleep till 11:30 because I couldn't. And I woke up at 4:30, and I was exhausted. But I was just so excited and had so much fun. That's the way I want to go to bed every day. Usually, if I don't sleep very good, it's because I didn't do anything, and I felt bad about it. I felt terrible about it. I regretted that I didn't do enough. Here's the thing. When you keep kingdom-mindedness in there, keep kingdom-minded when you're lazy too. But, man, that's where I find myself a lot. And not often, but there are times when I just can't sleep because I don't want the day to end. Because I didn't accomplish anything. Susan can go to bed quick because she wants to get up and start it all over with and do better the next day. I can't get past the past. And here's the thing, as parents and as godly parents, no matter where you're at in life, or whatever happened during your day, and you come home and you're exhausted from work or whatever it is, pump yourself up and be kingdom-minded. Help them love Jesus. Show them Jesus and have fun with them. Parenting is a short moment in your life. Well, when you have them in your home, parenting lasts forever, apparently, I hope so. But we only had them for a bit. So when you go to bed tired, not because you regret the moments that you didn't spend with your kids or what you didn't do at work, but go to bed tired because you worked your tail off at work and you came home and you had a blast with your kids. And go to bed tired. Here's the next one. This is not on there. Be authentic. Be authentic. This is what this is, though. If you do these 4 things, you're going to be authentic. If you be kingdom-minded first and you begin to serve God in your moments and you begin to not worry about things because you trust God and you go to bed tired because you're doing all those things right, you're going to be authentic. But here's the worst thing you can be, is not authentic in your faith. If you want to be a godly parent, be authentic. Be authentic in your faith. Let them know your failures. Let them know. Now, I'm not going to run off and tell them I'm sinful. I did this behind closed doors, or but they know my failures. I mean, I already messed up this morning with Susan, and they know about it because they heard it on the telephone. And last week I talked about don't be critical. Don't use criticism in your marriage, and I was critical, bad this morning, and I felt bad, and I'm just not good at it. I gotta get better. And so, as you move and as you work, be kingdom-minded. Serve God, man. Don't worry. Trust God. And go to bed